Hey there, coin collectors and history buffs. Today, we're diving into something truly extraordinary, a coin that has left the numismatic world in shock and awe. We're talking about the 2000 US 1-cent coin, commonly known as the penny. But this isn't your everyday penny. Oh no, this one could be worth up to $42 million. Yes, you heard that right, $42 million. So, what makes this 2000 penny so special? Well, stick around, because we're about to unravel the mystery of this rare coin, its value, and the fascinating history behind it. Grab your magnifying glass, because you might want to double-check your change after watching this video. Let's start with the basics. The US 1-cent coin, or penny, has been in circulation for over 200 years, first introduced in 1793. The penny was designed by none other than famous engraver, Robert Scott. Today, its face value is just 1 cent. That's right, 1 cent. But when we talk about the 2000 penny, we're not just talking about its value at face value. We're talking about something much more valuable, a rare mistake, a piece of history, and a treasure that's worth millions. So, what exactly is this 2000 penny that could be worth a whopping $42 million? It all comes down to a minting error. You see, most 2000 pennies are like any other coin. But due to a very rare mistake at the US Mint, there were a handful of pennies produced with an extremely rare feature, a double die error. A double die error happens when a coin is struck twice by the dies, resulting in a misalignment, or a doubling effect of the design. This error leads to a doubled image of the coin's features, the letters, numbers, and even the date. In the case of the 2000 penny, the doubling was so prominent that it's clearly visible to the naked eye. It's an amazing and rare flaw that makes the coin extremely valuable. The 2000 double-die penny is one of the most sought-after coins by collectors and investors. While most of us may not notice the subtle doubling in the design, when you know what to look for, it's incredibly striking. If you're lucky enough to find one, you could be holding a piece of US Mint history. As you can see, these pennies are far from ordinary. But just how rare are they? Let's talk about the numbers. Experts estimate that only around 12 to 20 of these 2000 double-die pennies exist today. That makes them incredibly rare, especially considering that billions of pennies are minted each year. And with such rarity comes immense value. In recent years, these rare 2000 double-die pennies have been sold at auctions for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some even believe that in the right market, one of these pennies could fetch up to $42 million. Yes, that's not a typo. $42 million. At recent auctions, collectors have been willing to pay incredible sums for a chance to own one of these ultra-rare coins. Some pennies have sold for as much as $200,000, while others are listed for even higher amounts. There was one famous auction where a double-die 2000 penny was listed for $42 million. The price is based not only on the rarity of the coin itself but on the immense interest from collectors and investors alike. The value could keep climbing if someone manages to find another one, and as more people discover the coin's historical importance. But how do you know if you've got one of these rare 2000 double-die pennies in your possession? Let's take a closer look at the key features that make this penny so valuable. First, examine the date. On a typical 2000 penny, the date will be clear and crisp. But on a double-die penny, you'll notice that the digits in the year, 2000, appear to be doubled, with a noticeable shift in the design. Next, take a look at the word, liberty, and the phrase, "In God We Trust." On the double-die coin, the letters will appear thicker, often with a shadowy outline. This is the hallmark of a double-die error. It's important to note that not all 2000 pennies are valuable. You need to look carefully for the doubling effect. If you find one that matches these characteristics, you may be holding a rare and valuable treasure. So, what's the takeaway from all this? While the majority of 2000 pennies are worth just 1 cent, a very select few could be worth millions. If you come across a 2000 penny with the double die error, it could turn out to be one of the rarest coins in American history. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone with a curious eye for rare finds, keep an eye out for these hidden treasures. A 2000 penny could be sitting in your pocket, and if you're lucky enough to find one with a double die error, you could be looking at a fortune, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your fellow coin enthusiasts. Who knows, maybe you'll be the next person to discover a $42 million penny. See you in the next video. Next today, we're going to talk about a coin that might be sitting in your pocket right now, and you wouldn't even know it. It's the 1983 D1-cent coin. Now hold up, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth millions? That's right, folks. You heard me correctly. We're about to dive into a story of an ordinary penny with an extraordinary value that could be worth a whopping $81 million. So, if you're ready, let's get started. Let's start with the basics. The 1983 D1-cent coin is just like any other penny you'd find in circulation. It was minted by the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D Mint mark. The coin has a classic design, Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse, with the words Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date of issue, 1983. Now, the design of the penny itself is nothing special. Most people wouldn't even think twice about a coin that has been around since 1909. But there's a twist to this story. You see, in 1983, something strange happened at the Mint. A few of these pennies were made differently, and that's where the real story begins. In 1983, the U.S. Mint was undergoing a significant change. They were shifting from using pure copper to a copper-plated zinc composition for pennies, in order to save on production costs. So, they started minting pennies with a 97.5% zinc core and a 2.5% copper plating. Most of the 1983 pennies you'll find today are made with this zinc-copper mix, but a small number of them were accidentally made with the old copper alloy. These pennies are particularly rare because they were produced by mistake. Imagine a scenario where the machines were supposed to use zinc for the pennies, but due to a glitch, they ended up using pure copper instead. That's exactly what happened with a handful of 1983 pennies, and those pennies are worth a lot more than their face value. Now you might be wondering, how did this all come to light? Well, it wasn't until 1989, 6 years later, that the first reports of these rare copper pennies began circulating among collectors. A coin dealer in Texas, by the name of Mike Byers, was the first to identify one of these pennies and realize that it wasn't just another regular 1983 D penny. Mike Byers discovered that the coin was, in fact, made of copper, and because of its rarity, it could be worth thousands. At first, it was a curiosity among coin collectors, but as time went on, the value began to rise. Some believe that only a handful of these copper pennies exist today. Let's talk about how much a 1983 D copper penny can be worth. You might be sitting on a literal gold mine, or should I say copper mine in your pocket right now, and not even know it. The value of these era coins has skyrocketed over the years, with some selling for anywhere between $1,000 to $100,000 depending on their condition. But the real showstopper, the one we're all really curious about, is the $81 million dollar penny. That's right, an auction in 2018 saw an era coin with a unique provenance fetch a staggering $81 million. How did it get to that value? Well, it's all about the rarity and the demand among collectors. The penny that went for $81 million was one of the few known to exist, and it was in pristine condition, meaning it had never been worn down or damaged by circulation. It was basically in mint condition. So, what makes these era pennies so valuable? It's all about rarity, condition, and historical significance. Era coins are highly sought after by collectors because they're essentially a mistake made during production. The more unique the era, the higher the price tag. The 1983 D copper pennies are particularly valuable because there were only a handful produced, and once they were discovered, demand among collectors and investors took off. When a rare coin like this is found, it goes through a grading process to determine its condition. This is called coin grading. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. A coin with a higher grade, meaning it has fewer imperfections, can command a much higher price. And when you add a rich history to the mix, it only increases the coin's value. So, what's next for the 1983 D copper penny? Will the value continue to rise, or has it peaked? Well, as with any rare collectible, the future value is hard to predict. But one thing's for sure, if you happen to find a 1983 copper penny in your change, it could be your ticket to big money. The best advice is to check for the telltale signs. Does the coin look different? Does it feel heavier? If you think you've found one, make sure to have it appraised by a professional coin expert or sent to a grading service. To wrap up, the 1983 copper penny is a reminder that sometimes, the most unassuming objects can hold incredible value. While most pennies are worth just 1 cent, this rare era coin has proven that even the smallest things in life can have a huge payoff. Whether you're a casual coin collector or just someone looking through your spare change, keep an eye out. You might just discover the next big thing. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories about rare coins and collectibles. And hey, who knows, maybe the next time you're digging through your coins, you'll find a 1983 penny worth a fortune. See you next time. Next. Did you know that a humble 1-cent coin from 1995 could be worth a jaw-dropping $44 million? That's right. This little copper disc, often overlooked and dismissed as pocket change, has a fascinating history and could make you a fortune. Stick around, because today we're diving deep into the incredible story of the 1995 1-cent coin. While most of us have used these pennies without a second thought, there's more to them than meets the eye. A 1-cent coin from 1995 might look like any other penny in your change jar, but believe it or not, certain 1995 pennies are worth far more than their face value. We're talking millions of dollars, and no, this isn't a joke. In fact, some rare 1995 pennies have sold for record-breaking prices at auction. But how did a coin that costs less than a dime become one of the most coveted treasures in the numismatic world? Archive footage of a U.S. mint factory, followed by a shot of a 1995 penny. The history of the 1995 penny begins, as all pennies do, at the U.S. Mint. The penny was first introduced in 1793, and over the years, its design has changed multiple times. By 1995, the penny was already a fixture in American life, yet it still had something to offer collectors and investors. The design of the penny remained relatively unchanged from the 1909 Lincoln design, with the copper-colored coin featuring President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But as simple as it may seem, things started to change in the mid-90s. The real magic begins with something called a double die error. This happens during the minting process when a die, used to strike the design onto the coin, becomes misaligned, causing certain elements of the design to appear doubled or blurry. In 1995, a small batch of pennies were struck with a rare and highly sought-after doubled die. The result? A penny with an unmistakably doubled image, particularly noticeable in the date and lettering. This flaw is so specific that it makes these pennies instantly recognizable to collectors, and it's one of the main reasons why 1995 double die pennies are worth such incredible amounts. A single 1995 double die penny can sell for tens of thousands of dollars, depending on its condition. Now let's talk numbers. The value of a 1995 double die penny can vary greatly depending on its condition, the extent of the doubling, and the specific coin. A well-preserved example could fetch anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 on average. But here's where it gets insane. One particular 1995 double die penny, in pristine condition, was sold at auction for an eye-watering $44 million. Yes, you heard that right, $44 million for a single penny. This sale marked a world record for a penny, and it became a symbol of how rare and valuable these seemingly insignificant coins can become. So, what makes this particular penny so valuable? Let's break it down. First, rarity plays a huge role. Only a limited number of 1995 pennies were struck with the double die error, making them exceedingly rare. Secondly, the condition of the coin matters. Coins that are graded as MS67 or higher, which stands for Mint State 67, are considered nearly flawless and can command astronomical prices. These coins are virtually perfect and are treated with the utmost care by collectors. Collectors don't just want any penny, they want one that has been preserved in pristine condition. A 1995 double-die penny that is graded MS67 or higher is an elite specimen, and its value increases exponentially as a result. Additionally, collectors value historical context and provenance. If a coin has a unique or noteworthy history, its price can skyrocket. Coin collecting, or numismatics, has always been an exciting and profitable hobby, but in recent years, it has become an even more lucrative market. Rare coins, like the 1995 double-die penny, are viewed as investments, just like stocks, real estate, or art. Over the last decade, the market for rare coins has exploded, with buyers willing to pay astronomical sums to add these historical treasures to their collections. People who understand the value of these coins can make life-changing amounts of money by finding them in their pocket change or through auctions. While finding a coin worth millions in your pocket is rare, it does happen, and when it does, it's a game changer. So, how can you tell if you have one of these rare 1995 double-die pennies? First, check the date. The most notable feature of the double die is the 95 foot in the year. The numbers will look blurry or have a double image. Next, look for doubling in the lettering, especially around the word liberty or the motto "In God We Trust." If you spot these signs, you could be holding on to a fortune. Remember, the condition of the coin matters too. A heavily worn penny is unlikely to fetch big money, but if yours is in good condition, get it professionally graded. A professional can determine its value and help you decide whether to sell or keep it in your collection. The 1995 double-die penny is a reminder that sometimes the most valuable things are the ones we overlook. A simple coin from your pocket change could hold the key to a fortune, and with a little knowledge and luck, you could be the next person to strike it rich in the world of rare coins. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more amazing stories from the world of numismatics. Who knows? The next rare coin could be in your change right now. See you next time! Last. This tiny coin, the humble 2005 US 1-cent piece, is worth something far more than just its face value of 1 cent. Believe it or not, this small piece of copper could be worth a staggering $8 million. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, today, we're going to explore how a simple 2005 penny could become a multi-million-dollar treasure. Stick around, because this story has twists, turns, and a whole lot of history. Before we dive into the specific 2005 penny that could be worth millions, let's first understand the 1-cent coin in general. The US 1-cent coin, also known as the penny, has been in circulation since 1793. It's one of the oldest coins in American history, and over the years, its design has changed several times. The design that most of us are familiar with today was introduced in 1909. It features the profile of President Abraham Lincoln, one of America's most iconic figures. The back of the coin originally depicted a wheat sheaf, which was later replaced in 1959 with the Lincoln Memorial. More recently, we've seen a design featuring the Union Shield, introduced in 2010. Now, let's talk about the 2005 penny. At first glance, the 2005 penny doesn't look any different from the millions of others that were minted that year. It has the standard Lincoln portrait on the front and the Union Shield on the back. But there's something very special about a particular subset of these coins. In 2005, the US Mint produced over 8 billion 1-cent coins, but a small number of these pennies were struck with a rare error that would make them incredibly valuable. What is this error, you ask? Well, it's something called a double die. This means that the design on the coin was unintentionally doubled during the minting process. The result is a coin with overlapping or doubled images that give it a unique and eye-catching appearance. To understand why this error is so significant, let's take a quick look at how coins are made. When a coin is struck, a die, essentially a metal stamp, is used to impress the design onto the coin. If the die is misaligned or shifts slightly during the process, it can create a doubled effect. This is what happened to a few 2005 pennies. On these special 2005 pennies, the doubling is most noticeable in the lettering and the date. If you closely examine a 2005 penny with a double die error, you'll see that the Liberty and the "In God We Trust" inscriptions on the obverse, the front, of the coin appear to be doubled. Even more striking is the date 2005, which seems to have a shadowed second impression right next to the original numbers. These subtle, yet striking, imperfections can be a bit tricky to spot with the naked eye, but once you know what to look for, they become much more apparent. And trust me, if you find one of these double-die pennies, you could be holding something worth far more than 1 cent. So, how rare is this error? Well, estimates vary, but it's believed that only a handful of 2005 pennies with this error were ever minted. Some numismatists, that's coin experts, believe fewer than 100 of these error coins are still in circulation today. Because of the rarity of the 2005 double-die penny, they are highly sought after by collectors. In fact, these pennies can fetch an astounding price at auction. Some of the best examples of the 2005 double-die penny have sold for anywhere between $1,000 and $8 million, depending on the condition and the rarity of the error. Now you might be wondering, how does a penny, a coin with a face value of just 1 cent, end up being worth $8 million? Well, it all comes down to rarity and demand. As I mentioned, only a few 2005 double-die pennies are believed to still exist. When a coin is this rare, collectors are willing to pay top dollar to add it to their collections. There's a huge market for rare coins, and high-profile sales can drive up the value. For example, one of the most famous 2005 double-die pennies sold at auction for an eye-popping $8 million. This particular coin was in excellent condition and had been verified as one of the rarest examples of the error. It became a true treasure for coin collectors and investors alike. Now that you know about the value of this rare penny, you're probably wondering how you can tell if you've got one. Here's what you should look for. First, check the date 2005. If you see a doubled impression, that's a strong indicator that you've found a potential double-die penny. Next, closely examine the words Liberty and In God We Trust on the obverse. If you notice any additional lines or shadows next to the letters, that's another sign of the double-die error. Make sure you use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to get a closer look. The 2005 double-die penny is a perfect example of how something so small and seemingly insignificant can hold incredible value. If you ever come across one of these pennies, you might just be holding a piece of history, worth millions. Of course, finding one isn't easy, but knowing what to look for is the first step toward discovering a hidden treasure. Thanks for joining us today on this exciting journey through the world of rare coins. If you've enjoyed learning about the 2005 1-cent penny that could be worth $8 million, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating stories from the world of numismatics. Who knows? The next time you go through your spare change, you might find a small fortune.